Hi Stampers, Nicole Tuggerl from Be Creative with Nicole. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I've got a project to share with you that uses the Bouquet Bigz L die again. I showed you previously how to do a small flower from this little box right here. And so today I'm going to show you a couple more things to do with this die cut so that you can get the most out of your money for it. I'm going to show you a different way of doing the flower. This one is where there's 2 layers of it, and then there's a 5-petal flower I'm going to show you, and then these little leaves. I also added in stamping, so that's something different. What I made is this little picnic basket. I've had these sitting around forever. I mean, I'm going to admit I'm a stamp hoarder. I save everything. I save everything that I can find that is recyclable. If I find something cool at the store that's on sale and I think maybe I can do something with it, I save it, I buy it. And these baskets, I've got like 5 or 6 of these, and I think I've had them for a good, probably 5 or 6 years. So I'm just now pulling them out because I thought they would be really cool with these beautiful flowers. So let me show you what I did. I did try to make it a little bit shorter so I can show you the finished product at the end. We'll put it together, but I did take some shortcuts so this won't be too super long. But I really want to show you how to assemble the flowers. That's the main thing. So I'm going to put this to the side. I will tell you real quick though, here's the basket before decorating. It's got this great little flap. This is a couple pieces of like a leather type thing where the basket opens. And you can put goodies inside. I thought for Mother's Day, wouldn't this be fantastic? Have your flowers on it. And then you can tuck some goodies inside. You can, whatever handmade items you want to give, or even treats, whatever you want. I didn't want to paint it and alter the basket a whole lot because I really kind of like this natural look, so I had to sit and think for a minute what to do. And so as I was looking through my drawers, I thought doily, because wouldn't that be pretty base underneath the flower? And this is also something that's kind of going to make this flexible, because a doily, you know, it's not real stiff. So look at this. This box actually opens really easily with this doily glued to it. I used hot glue, and these were just regular doilies from like the store. I just bought this at the craft store a long time ago. Another thing I was hoarding is I had a package of these doilies, and this is about 5" in diameter, I believe. And if it's perfect, I just lucked out. It fit perfect on the top of this picnic basket. So I just used a little bit of hot glue all on the inside and a couple of these little points here so that it would stick. And so that's my base for my flowers. Another thing I did that I'm not going to do on camera is, because it's just tedious, I took designer series paper to decorate this trim, because here's what it looks like without. It's got these little nails that show, and I didn't want that to be there. I wanted it to look more finished. So I just took a strip of something borrowed, designer series paper for this one, and all it is a hair less than 1 3/4 wide. So it's like 1 11/16, and then it's 9½ inches. So there's 2 strips of that size, 9½ by 1 11/16. And I used a little bit of Tombow and adhered it all the way around the box to give it more of a finished look. Here's this one. This one uses the Best Year Ever designer series paper from Celebration. I also used for colors on this one. I'm going to actually have more about this on my blog too. This is your Pool Party Crisp Cantaloupe with Calypso Coral, and this is the Pistachio pudding color. So, and then it's a hair stain in the middle here. So I kept these light and pretty. This one today that I'm actually going to make for you is going to have a different color scheme. I'm going to use Wisteria Wonder, and I'm going to use Blushing Bride, and I'm going to use Pear Pizzaz. So I've got some measurements for you. And some flowers that we're going to make. So we're going to do, the Wisteria Wonder is going to be the big flower in the center. So you're going to have 5 large petals. They're going to be 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. You're going to have 4 small petals that are 1½ by 2. And all this stuff is going to be on my blog, so don't worry about trying to write things down and rush. The stamens, I used Eggplant. I used Elegant Eggplant for that. You need 5 1½ by 1½ little squares to cut your stamens out. So that's the big flower. So these are my cutouts here. I went ahead and cut all these out. So this is going to make our large flower, which we'll work on first. Okay, so we've got all that. Then we've got another flower. We've got the 5-petal flower, 2 1/4 by 2 1/4 squares. You need 5. For the 5-petal flower, you need 3 actual flowers to make one flower. You need 3 cutouts to make one flower. So I did 4 flowers on my box. 4 times 3, you need 12. So you need 12 of these. And then lastly, I used a different kind of leaf. I didn't use the longer leaf with all the small little leaves on it, like the little branch. I used this leaf on here. I'll show you. On the die, there's 2 leaf shapes on here. This one's a little bit smaller. This one's a little bit bigger. This is the one I used, is this bigger one. Looks like a little teardrop almost. So you need 4 of those. And the paper size is 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 for that. So anyway, we're using the Bouquet Bigz die. I also, if you had noticed here and here, I actually added in some stamping this time because I love this set. I think it's really pretty, and I thought it was really cool that they designed a die cut that you could add stamping to the flowers and add some dimension. So I used this smaller leaf design here to make the veins of the leaf. And then I used this smaller little kind of splashing look. And I stamped it just in the center on the top because that's all you're going to see. These other layers are going to form together and make your flower. So I used 2 stamps out of this. I used these 2. And that's the Build a Bouquet, and that matches. Both of these are in the Occasions catalog. So let me go ahead and let's first put together the biggest flower that goes in the center, and then I'll show you the smaller stuff real quick. Okay, so I showed you this on my other video where I did a flower, this little small guy, and it's just these smaller petals to make this. Well, now we're going to combine the bigger petals with it as well and make a bigger flower. So same thing as before. With your glue gun, use hot glue because it's really the only way to go with this. I wouldn't use anything else. You're doing the same thing as I showed in my previous video. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out on my YouTube channel and subscribe because I'll be doing more. I'm just putting a dab of glue on this tab here. There's a split. There's a split in the die cut, and then just put a little dab of glue. Fold over the other tab, and then it makes a cupping shape. When you do that, you just do this to all these petals. I'm going to do this really fast. Try and get through these so we can get to building. As you can see, look how quick I'm doing this. So it's not as intimidating as it seems to make these flowers. You just kind of have to play around with it a little bit. That's basically what I did. I just kind of sat down and thought, okay, I watched the YouTube videos for Stampin' Up! As how they made their flowers, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to kind of wing it and start some of my own. So there's our bottom layer. Let's do the middle. And it's kind of cold in my basement, so my glue dries really fast, which is a good thing, I guess. Unless I make a mistake and then there's no fixing it. So, okay. 2 more of these little guys. Just a cupping shape, and they form. And you can also do this more exaggerated or less exaggerated. I don't make mine too bold. I like just a smaller shape. I don't want it too well formed because then it's going to stand up straight. And I really kind of want it to kind of relax out a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and build the flower. I'll do the stamens in a minute. Let's do our bottom part. Same thing as the other one that I showed you before. A little dab of glue. And then you're just start putting these petals together. I overlap a little bit more on this one because I'm fitting in 5 petals instead of 4. That first video showed 4 petals. Okay, so I just put a little dab of glue to the side, and we're just going to build. Okay. And you can try and finagle a little bit too. I do kind of turn it up because sometimes this one is a little bit tighter together. You can see these a little bit further apart and these a little bit closer together. I should have spread the other ones out a little bit. But it just happens. It comes with practice, and I still try to finagle them a little bit even though my glue is dried. Then you gotta remember too, you're gonna have another layer in here. So even though those are kind of squashed, this is still gonna turn out fine. Okay, so there's our bottom layer built. Now we're going to build this next layer. Same principle. We're going to do a little dab of glue on the side. Whoop. I'm pulling my cord from a different direction. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we've got these 2. We're just going to go through and build this one real quick. These you can have more kind of sit across from each other directly because you're just doing the 4. With the other one you have to overlap a little more. Okay, so there's that little middle one. Alright, now put a big dab of glue in the middle here, so that I can make sure this other piece stays in there really good. And then I kind of try to like offset it so these petals are going in the middle of these petals. So you know how I did it? These are a little bit further apart. This one isn't the prettiest flower ever. So, okay, so there's our flower. See here, this one turned out a little more well formed than this bottom layer did. Now for me, I'm probably going to go back and make a new one. I won't probably glue this to my project because I'm too picky. I want to make sure it's just right. So we'll see how it looks when the stamen gets in there, because if it looks alright, then I'll go ahead and glue it in. But if not, I'll probably go back and fix it later. Okay, let's do our stamen now. Just like the one I showed you before. I take the ones that have like the center left in a little bit, so that's the bottom layer. And you just kind of alternate so that they overlap a little bit. And as I start doing this, I start forming them too. And actually, I think I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go ahead and jumble these up and start adding layers to the bottom and see if that helps it jumble up good. Let's try it. So we'll just bunch that up. Maybe it'll keep it nice and bunched better. Okay. Just watch out for the hot glue in your fingers. I'm kind of used to it. My hands, I live on a little farm here. We have horses and things, and so I am used to having rough hands. Okay, so there, that worked out really good actually. Okay, so that stamen looks nice and bunched up and pretty. Don't really need to do a lot of fluffing because it's already done. Okay, so let's add it to the middle. Another bunch of glue in here. And we'll just tuck in our stamen in the center. Yeah, see, that flower's nice. Even though it's a little bit off, still, flowers are probably you're never going to see the same thing all the time. So I think I'll just run with it. So there's our flower. And if you wanted to, you could even add some speckles or something to it. I just chose to keep this one plain because I did stamp the 5-petal flower that we're going to put around it. So I left this one as is. Okay, let's move on to our 5-petal flower so we can start building the basket real quick. Okay, so you need 3 of the 5-petal flower, which is right here, this one. And then you also will need to finish the project with the leaves. I'll show you the stamping on both of them. So here's the leaves. So these I already did. So there's the little starburst I put in the center. I used Blushing Bride on that, same as the cardstock, to stamp on that. And then same with this one. I used the Pear Pizzaz and just used the little veining on that. I love the dimension it gives to it. I think it's beautiful. What a great idea that they had to come up with the stamp set that goes with it. So, okay, now to build this flower, you need a bone folder, and you're going to take your petals and break down the paper fiber a little bit and curl them up on all of them. Okay. This is going to help you form your flowers out a little bit later too, because I'm going to work with them some more and form them a little bit more. Okay, first part of this flower, let's go ahead and put a little bit of glue around the center there. Offset the leaves, just like the petals, just like the other flowers, so that you get a fuller looking flower. We'll do it again, and add this next one. Okay, and this one will offset again. Okay, so my stamped one's on top. Now for this flower, I added something different. I didn't add anything off of the die cut. I used my punch here, a little petite petal, and here's, whoops, Sahara sand. I just took one Sahara sand. And like the trick I showed the other day, same thing. I took my Stamen Pierce mat and a stylus. You can use whatever you can find to just add some dimension to this. I just push in the center and make it cup up. I also added a pearl. This time I add the large pearl off of this. Okay, so add a pearl to the center. And then we're just going to add a dot of glue to the back. And then set it in there. And it will glue down into like that little hole in the center. Okay, so there's our flower. Super easy. Once it's done, and then I start like folding up these petals and give them dimension. Kind of fluff them a little bit. So here's 3 more that I already made so that we'd have our 4, so I can show you how I placed everything on the top of the picnic basket. Last piece of the puzzle are the leaves. I already showed you how I stamped them with the veining. I also used my bone folder and gave them a little bit of a back and forth so that they were kind of dimensional as well. Got hot glue stuck to me. And so we'll do that with all of these too. Okay. So then they have a little bit of movement to them and they don't look flat. I just don't want them to look flat. I want them to kind of pop a little bit. Like on this basket, you can see they all kind of stand out a little bit. Okay, let's build. So, we got our big flower in the middle. So now I just kind of look and see which way I think, like this is definitely the way it should be facing forward because this is more open, so it kind of looks more natural that way to me. So I'm going to take a nice big blob of glue on the bottom of this so it sticks really good. I don't want it to go anywhere. And I'm just going to kind of center it here. Kind of push it down in. There. Okay, it's pretty already. Alright, then I wanted to make this kind of symmetrical so that it looked good from any angle, especially if you're looking down at it. So I actually had it so my flowers were going to sit like this. So all the flowers are going to go here, and then all the leaves will tuck in between. So that's what we're going to do next. We're just going to add in all these flowers. So when I do this kind of thing, I like to kind of set it down so I can see where I want it. And then I'll just start gluing them in place. So I put a blob of glue on each of these. And then just start setting them in. And I kind of angle them a little bit too. I set them at a little bit of an angle even, just so that they're kind of facing out. So let's do these last 2. And with this, I know you guys, I don't know if you're going to find these baskets or not since I bought them eons ago, but you can probably find something similar or do this on a picture frame even. This is just an idea of, you know, a way to use these flowers on something besides, you know, cards, something that you can use as a decorative item, something you can use as a gift. You can even do like, it'll be great on the takeout boxes. Make a belly band or something and then make a little floral arrangement that can just slide right off. That way they can access their box without damaging the flowers. Okay, now last part is our little leaves. So for that I just put a little dab of glue on the back. And then just start placing them in. I just kind of tuck them in between the flowers. So they're going to go down underneath that. So there's that one. Just a matter of arranging it how it looks nice to you and appealing on the box. So let's see, we'll tuck this little guy in there. Just kind of form it as it goes, and let's do one more here. And that's it. This pretty little box will be super for Mother's Day. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. And tuck some goodies in here for my mother-in-law. And then do one for my mom and tuck some goodies in there for her. And then they'll be super excited because this is something they can reuse. It can be sitting on their counter or their dresser. And they can keep little keepsakes in here or whatever else. So, alright, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this latest flower tutorial. I'm probably going to keep playing around with the die cuts and the stamps and seeing what else I can come up with. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I do plan on doing more videos. This is a lot more fun than I anticipated, and I love sharing with all of you all my different ideas. So thanks so much for visiting today, and I'll see you next time. Happy stamping!